Hello guys, it is me again, it's HorrorFan34, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to, once again, another tag video. I've been tagged once again. This time I was tagged by a really great friend of mine on here, Rob, also known as MovieReviewTime. I know he tagged several people in this tag, so I'm leaving this open to anybody who wants to do a response to this. So the original creator for this was Rob, aka MovieReviewTime, and it is the horror sequel tag, where it is, let me get it right here, 9 questions about horror sequels. So I thought this would be a really fun one to do. I thought this was a really great idea for a tag. I definitely have some answers for this one, and I think me and Rob are going to share similar answers. Some of them are going to be different though, but some are going to be, some are different, some are the same, and so to speak. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed my answers to these questions, and Rob, I hope you enjoy this response, and let's get on to my answers. So here we go. Question number 1, what is your favorite horror sequel? For me, it's the sequel to the original 1979 classic Alien. I gotta go with Aliens as my favorite horror sequel. Because it is a sequel to a horror film, Alien. And Aliens does have horror elements in it. You know, it's more of like a sci-fi, like action movie, but it's got horror elements because it's a sequel to the horror film Alien. And I think Aliens is a great sequel. Great horror elements, you know, I love the whole idea about, you know, the characters, you know, Newt and Ripley, and, you know, with the cast, I mean, Sigourney Weaver, Michael Biehn, Lance Henriksen, Bill Paxton, even the little girl, Carrie Henn, who played Newt. Just a great cast, great characters, a lot of really good stuff in Aliens. That's why that's my favorite horror sequel. Question number 2, what is the worst horror sequel? That for me is easily The Exorcist 2, The Heretic. Because to me, that was such a big insult to me, because I'm a huge fan of The Exorcist. It's my favorite horror film of all time. I mean, I got a poster of it, a mini poster of it right here, and I'm sure you've seen that back when I did my room tour. You saw the poster of The Exorcist with Linda Blair on the cover. I love The Exorcist. It's my favorite horror film of all time. The Exorcist 2 is just an insult. It's goofy as hell and horrible, horrible acting, and it's a shame too because it's a really decent cast with Linda Blair and Max von Sydow coming back from the original, but you also have people like Richard Burton, Louise Fletcher, James Earl Jones, and you have a very solid director in John Boorman who did Deliverance with Burt Reynolds. It was just an insult. It's goofy as hell. It's boring. You know, just watch the trailer for yourself. The trailer says it all, like how goofy it is. Whenever I get into the Exorcist films one day, I'll be sure to rant on that piece of crap. So that's why it's the worst sequel. Number 3, what horror sequel is the most underrated? Sticking in the Exorcist franchise, I'm going to go with Exorcist 3 is the most underrated sequel, because I thought that film had a lot going for it for an Exorcist sequel. That should have been the true Exorcist 2. Because I really like George C. Scott, Brad Dourif, Jason Miller comes back from the original, has one of the best jump scares of all time. I love Exorcist 3 just has a lot going for it. I love the atmosphere and things like that. That's why I think it's the most underrated sequel. This number 4 was the toughest one for me because I couldn't really think of one. What horror sequel is the most overrated in your opinion? For my opinion, you know, I know this sequel in this horror franchise isn't really loved by a lot of people as much as the first one, but just because I was never a fan of this franchise, I thought this franchise was very overrated. I'm just going to go with this one just for the sake of that, on that notion. Paranormal Activity 2. Because I never really got the hype of the original, of the first one. You know, I tried watching the first one so many times. I know Rob is a big fan of the first one, and that's fine. I mean, a lot of people are a fan of the film. Hey, and Rob is too. I mean, more power to you. You know, I can understand it's your opinion, but to me, the first Paranormal Activity I could never get into. I fell asleep 3 times. I tried watching it 3 times, and the first time I watched it, I was tired. I didn't really get enough sleep that day, so that doesn't really count. So I kind of fell asleep when I was watching that. But the next 2 times, I fell asleep both times. I could never really get into it. I thought it was really dull and slow, and I thought that the ending was just one of those shocker endings I didn't care for. Yeah, but Paranormal Activity 2, just because I know it's not a sequel that's loved by a lot of people, but it's just part of a franchise that I never really got the love for. I mean, if more power to you if you enjoy the films, but I never got into them. Number 5, what is the best death scene in a horror sequel? Gotta go with Jimbo and Part 4 of Friday the 13th with the corkscrew. Just love that, because me and my good buddy Alex 2.0, have a great back and forth. We always mess with each other, like I'm Teddy and he's Jimbo from Part 4. And I'll be sure to try to remember to put this in the description down below. Back in 2016, me and Alex did a parody together where he was Jimbo and I'm Ted, and we did the whole corkscrew scene, remade it. Alex did a great job editing it. I'll try to put that in the link down below. It's on Alex's channel, so go check that out. Number 6, what horror sequel has the best gore effects? Even though I don't really watch the movie too much, I think Jason Goes to Hell has the best gore effects for a horror sequel, because it's really graphic and bloody, and a lot of really great death scenes in Part 9. I have to say for that one, number 6. Number 7, what horror sequel did you used to hate, but now you love? Now for me, I think I'm going to agree with Rob on this one, Halloween 3. Because, I feel like now as I'm older, when you view it as a standalone film, it's a really great movie. It's a very underrated movie. If you think about it as not part of the Halloween franchise and you don't associate it with Michael Myers, it's actually a really good movie if you don't think about Michael Myers, because you forget that it's part of the franchise and it's its own standalone film. And I think that's when I got older, that's why I love the film more and more, because when I was younger, it was part of the Halloween franchise. I'm like, where's Michael Myers? And he's not in it. But as I got older, I learned to appreciate the film more and more as a standalone film. I think it's a really underrated movie, too. Number 8, what horror sequel did you used to love but now you hate? Don't get me why. I don't understand why I liked this film back in the day. Maybe because I was a big Chucky fan. Yeah, because I liked the Chucky doll. It creeped me out when I was a kid. But this movie, man, watching this not too long ago, I'm like, what the hell? Like, what the hell was I thinking when I was a kid? Or when I was younger when this came out? I remember seeing this probably like when I was a teenager. Seed of Chucky. Maybe just because I was a big, I liked the character of Chucky. It was one of my personal favorite horror villains. I loved the character of Chucky. And Brad Dourif as Chucky, of course, is legendary. So maybe that's why I liked it more back then when I was a teenager, because I was a big Chucky fan. But like now that as I'm older and I watched the first 2 films and watching this one again, it's like, damn, man, I wasn't too smart when I was a teenager, was I? This movie was horrendous. Really crappy comedy. A lot of unnecessary elements that I did not need to see. The whole Glenda thing. Yeah, let's not even get into it. And of course, the last question, number 9. What horror sequel had the best ending? I gotta go with Rob on this one too. Halloween H2O. Easily the best ending to a horror sequel, in my personal opinion. When she cuts Michael Myers' head off and boom, that's the end. And of course they ruined that when they came out with Resurrection a few years later. Yeah, I mean, when she cuts Michael Myers' head off, it's a great ending to the Halloween films. It's a great ending. Thankfully they fixed it when they came out with Resurrection. Thankfully they fixed it with the new Halloween, thankfully. And, so, there you have it. Those are my answers to the questions. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Alright guys, take care.